How's it going, folks? I'm Mark.
I'm Ladi. How are you doing?
We're from Like Minded Lunatics.
So, I haven't seen you for so long.
This is the first one we've done in how long together?
Months.
I know, it's crazy. And we see each other all the time.
I know.
Just laziness, I think.
Yeah, I know. You've been busy.
Yeah.
You got stuff going on.
I know. Well, today's a special one because next week we have a show at Alamo Drafthouse where both producers have testified. Explain.
It's a storytelling show we do here in Austin. It's a curated show. We work with people on the stories, little pieces of their lives. We help them tell them.
And I'm telling a story next week.
Are you?
I am. Oh. And I mentioned Metallica. Actually, Enter Sandman plays a big part.
Well, you know, you mention Metallica all the time anyway.
I do. I can't help it. But we've already reacted to Enter Sandman. So what I thought we would do to kind of get ready for that is react to another song off the same album that I do mention in the story.
That makes sense.
So I think we're going to react to Sad But True.
Ooh.
Sad But True. And the video itself is okay. The video is a lot of just concert footage. But I really want your reaction to the lyrics. I'm interested in how you're going to react to the lyrics.
Now, you know what I'm going to tell you about the lyrics.
I've already got them bigger.
I want a 25-point font.
Hang on. All right, folks. I'm doing the huge font. How's that? Is that good?
Oh, that's good. I can see that.
Okay. I'll do this. We'll make it a little bit bigger. And folks, it is tradition to have a beverage with our Friday night reaction video, and I'm going with an Allstott IPA, a German-style India Pale Ale. I'm very excited about this, Lottie. I haven't had it yet.
I've got sparkling water.
It's got a Costco. Not a sponsor.
No, just a and tell Mark he's really supposed to be bringing limes or something for me to put in here. He won't do it. He won't do it.
I keep forgetting. Well, cheers, folks. Cheers, Lottie. Let's see. Sad But True. This comes off the 1991 album, by the way. The eponymously titled album, Metallica. A lot of folks just call it the Black Album, but it's actually...
Is that a play on the Beatles' White Album?
Is it? I have no idea. That would be amazing if it is. I have no idea. Huh.
Okay.
This is why I have you here. Because I take things for granted. I don't remember. I don't know. Folks, is it a play on the Beatles' White Album? I don't know. Okay, so here we go. Sad But True.
This is what I imagine a Friday or Saturday night like is usually for you around the house. You're just walking around, whipping your hair back and forth.
By myself. It's the saddest thing. Singing to myself. Because here's the thing. I like to imagine I would be good in crowds, but I'm not. I'm not good in this.
No?
Get off of me. I want my space. You know what I mean? I'm the type of guy who wants a box seat. And then I'm going to thrash around...
In your box seat?
In my box seat by myself. And people will look up and go, look at that guy dancing by himself. Yeah, because I don't want any of you assholes touching me.
You don't know how much fun he's having by himself.
That's right. Thematically, that's what our conversation goes with this song. You don't know it yet, but it does.
Oh, God.
All right, what are you thinking first, or after this first verse? So I know you're following along with it.
I am following along. Well, it's a sad song.
It kind of is, yeah.
That's all I'm thinking.
Okay.
It makes you feel bad for him.
Is it an internal struggle? Is this an external struggle?
It's just because of everything I know of him, from what I've learned from you,
from Hetfield,
it's always an internal struggle, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time it is, yeah. And I do feel like this is probably one of their, for me, it's not one of their faster songs, but it's one of their heaviest ones. Like that riff that they're doing, it's not a fast riff. In fact, it's not all that hard to play, but the bum, 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 ba-na-na-na-na, it feels heavy and dark and weighty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And the other, I was just going to say, even the things that are not internal, like when he's singing about his mother and cancer and all this,
yes.
Even though everything is still it's his take on everything.
How he's dealing with it.
It's all, so that's just who he is.
Yeah.
Which actually makes me find him more interesting.
It does. It complicates it. It's not just people thrashing around for no reason.
No.
There's the thrashing is a manifestation of his internal...
Thrashing?
Yes. Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
I'm your dream, make you real. I'm your eyes when you must steal. I'm your pain when you can't feel. Sad but true. I'm your dream, mind astray. I'm your eyes while you're away. I'm your pain while you repay. You know it's sad but true.
Now I love that little bridge there. I'm your dream, I make you real. I'm your eyes when you must steal. I'm your pain when you can't feel. Sad but true. That's dark.
It is dark.
It's dark.
He's better now, though, isn't he?
I've been reacting to the 4 tracks off the newest album. It is the most hopeful. One of the songs is downright joyful.
That makes me happy to hear.
One of the songs is called Screaming Suicide. Now, you would not think that's a happy song. And at first glance, it doesn't start off happy. But by the end of it, the protagonist finds his way out of the darkness. It's a beautiful song. I'm going to go ahead and spoil this one. They don't find their way out of this one. Yeah.
Sad but true. You're my mask, you're my cover, my shelter. You're my mask, you're the one who's blamed. Do my work, do my dirty work, scapegoat. Do my deeds, but you're the one who's shamed. I'm your dream.
Dark, right?
Yeah, so who is this? Is this the physical him versus the internal him?
That's what I wanted you to tell me what you thought. That's why I was interested in your take on this. Because like some of the best lyrics out there, we've talked about this, like some of the best lyrics out there, there's ambiguity here. There's no real certainty. Is this an external force that he's talking about? This is an internal force? Like you said, Hetfield does a lot of internalization stuff. But it's unclear, right? Do my work, do my dirty work, scapegoat.
See, to me, it almost seems like it's a song that he's singing into a mirror, and he's looking at him, and these are the things I feel. You're the one who does all the work. You're the one who gets in trouble. You're the one who does all the stuff, and I'm the one who has to feel all this. It's how it's how it seems. That's how it reads to me right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good reading of it.
Make you real. I'm your eyes when you must steal. I'm your pain when you can't feel. Sad but true. I'm your dream, mind astray. I'm your eyes while you're away. I'm your pain while you repay. You know it's sad but true. Sad but true.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. So where is this in their catalog? Is this after Midway? Is this after the main change when
This
people,
is the main change.
This is the one that people freaked out about or fell in love with.
Yes. So prior to this, they'd been way more thrashy. And by that, I mean the song's tempos, the beats per minute were way faster. The songs were way longer. And it was a lot more just like chaotic strumming and stuff like this.
Really?
Yeah. And the interesting thing about this riff, I mean, this is one of the few that I can play. But the interesting thing about this riff is that it's actually really bluesy. The way that he's That's almost, it's not 12 bar, but it's like kind of similar. And then there's some string bends and stuff that he does. It's in a different key though.
So what was his purpose? What instigated this change?
Reportedly, they brought in a new producer. This guy by the name of Bob Rock. They brought in Bob Rock because they wanted a change in their playing style. They weren't getting a lot of radio play. And in my story, I talk about that. Enter Sandman is one of the few Metallica songs, one of the first Metallica songs that got wide airplay. They hadn't been played on the radio a whole lot. Their songs were really long and super complicated as far as like arrangement was concerned. And they wanted to do something that they thought was a little bit more palatable. And then Hetfield, the lead singer, also wanted to sing more, like rather than just kind of scream singing and stuff like that. And so they brought in producer Bob Rock, and Bob Rock pushed them to do different stuff. The first thing that he did, and this is going to sound weird, one of the first things he did apparently was he told them they couldn't record separately because they'd gotten into a habit of like Kirk Hammett, the other guitar player, would come in and apparently lay down his tracks and then he'd leave. Hetfield would come in, lay down his tracks and the lyrics. Lars would come in and do his drums, and Bob was like, "No, you're a live band. People love you live. We got to capture that energy." And so one of the things he did was bring them all in. I know that sounds counterintuitive. Like, how would you?
I think that's wonderful because Kim Carnes, who I love Kim Carnes, and her last album, I'm Barking at Airplanes. She said that when she did that, everyone was in the studio, everyone's mic. She says because you cannot. The moment you're in a group, the playing changes. It's an organic music that happens at that point that can't happen when you're recording everyone separately. So I can absolutely see how that would change the feel of everything.
And then apparently he also pushed Hetfield's lyrics as well. So prior to this, Hetfield had been a lot more literal about his lyrics, and Bob Rock encouraged him to be more metaphorical and more poetic.
Like this. Like everything we're reading now.
Use more metaphor, use more visual language as opposed to telling people, this is my mindset.
I kind of like that because that opens up to us not knowing your mindset and imagining it's ours.
To me, it opens the songs up. I feel like sometimes an artist thinks, well, I got to tell people how I feel. But if you tell people how I feel, that's all they have. But if you provide them with what you're feeling, then you allow them to read onto it.
I love that.
Right?
I absolutely love that. Yes.
And so I feel like that's what happened. At this point, they kind of took a little bit of a turn in their songwriting, a little bit of turn in production and engineering, and we get a different sound.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Because it's a storytelling thing.
Yes.
And this is what I think. That when you tell people, I'm sad, well, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But when you tell people, my stomach dropped and I had chills and I was shaking, it's the same feeling, but now you've given so much color to it.
Well, you've provided them with a way to empathize.
Yes, because it's a feeling.
Yes, because telling someone something doesn't provide them with enough information to empathize. Now we empathize. Like you said, that moment of looking in the mirror, that's not something he wrote. That's something you're reading into it.
It is.
And it's because of the lyrics.
It is. You're right. Okay, when are you going to do that?
I cut it like that. Lee hated it.
Did you really?
Carefully. It looks very rednecky.
Okay.
Like I can kind of hide the redneck if I don't talk a lot. If I don't talk, you can't tell, or at least not a lot. But if I do that, there's no hiding it. There's no hiding.
Okay, I get it.
The shitbag redneck that I am. Uh-oh, I think it hit the meat. What happened? Where's my sound?
Whoa. There is not enough ibuprofen to stop my neck from hurting if I even tried to whip my head back and forth like that.
Okay, so this is Jason Newsted. He was the bassist at the time. He's doing the windmill style of headbanging. Look at that. The circle type headbanging, that requires, apparently it did hurt his neck though.
I would need so much Bengay.
Yes. Ibuprofen to the gills, right? To me, this verse is key to the song.
I want to ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
So when this came out, how was this for you? Because you had been listening to all the earlier stuff. So how was this change received by you and your friends that you were hanging out with?
I loved it. And here's the thing about me is that for bands that I like, I'm always willing to go on whatever ride they want to take me on. So I've never really...
You are the perfect fan.
I've never really been that fan that abandons a band when they're like... When they do something different. Van Halen was the same way. Van Halen 3, they hired Gary Cherone to come in and do the songs. And the moment they did that, people were like, nah, it's going to suck. Like, well, I mean, give them a shot. I mean, you liked what they did before. You trusted them back then. So I loved it.
Oh.
I loved it. A lot of fans didn't like it. I loved it. Now, they do have an album I cannot stand. And I've tried to like it.
After this or before this?
Way after. This is
after.
like 10 years later, maybe. St. Anger's like 10 years later. It's dog shit. Now, I'm not ashamed to say that. It's a terrible album.
Why?
Because of their stupid drummer, Lars. Ruined it. Ruined it.
I've heard you say something about that drummer before.
He's a little troll, man. He's got these snares on there, and they sound like he's hitting trash can lids. It's atrocious. And I've tried to like it, and I'm not going to apologize for not liking it. But I'm not the only one. And in fact, the last time we saw him in concert, James is playing, and everybody's having a great time, and he stops, and he's like, yeah, well, that was a good one. We're going to do 5 from St. Anger. And people go, boo!
Oh, my God.
And he just starts laughing. He's like, no, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. But give it a shot. Give it a shot, is what he said. And it was clear everyone had given it a shot. No. Boo! It was so funny.
Oh my God.
But I feel like this verse for me is key to the song. That's a heavy verse.
It is.
Yeah. So previously, the first part, the repeated section has been, hey, hey, I'm your life, But this one changes it. Hate, hate, I'm your hate when you want love. It's a dark, dark lyric.
He was a sad man.
Yeah. Well, James has said in interviews that writing music allowed him to express things that he didn't know how to express in other ways. And I think that that's a beautiful use of art.
Yeah, I know. Yes, absolutely.
It is a life-saving use of art in many cases. Yeah. And there's one line here at the end that it darkens it even more.
Make you real. I'm your eyes when you must steal. I'm your pain when you can't feel. Sad but true. I'm your truth. Telling lies, I'm your reason, alibis. I'm inside, open your eyes. I'm sad but true.
Tell me that's not a voice filled with pain. That last sad but true, oh God, when he sings out, I'm inside, open your eyes, I'm you. Sad but true.
Sad but sad, open your eyes. I'm sad but
what's interesting to me is this is, you know me already. This is something I would never listen to.
No, I know that.
But the lyrics put to anything that I would listen to would make me sit and cry because this is so sad, and it makes me like them more because my view of them is they're noisy. They're noisy for me. It's just me. I'm old and I understand this. They're just noisy.
Sure,
but
there's real poetry there, though.
There's real pain there.
Yeah,
and that's. You don't imagine that when all you can hear is the noise. You don't know that there's all this other humanity lying underneath that everyone has that no one talks about.
Yes.
So it really, you have changed my view on them 100%.
Which, wow.
What do you have?
I feel like that's a huge thing.
Well, you put in the effort. I'm going to tell you,
well,
but you have because,
and I think
it's amazing to me what you miss because you're not willing to give things a chance.
Yeah. Yes, I completely agree with you. There's a lot of times when we don't try to understand other things that aren't for us.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things that we always try to press here on the channel is that, you know, support the things that you like and try to like new things. But if you don't bash it because you don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't have to like it, but you don't have to hate it.
No. And I can tell you, like, you know, in the story I talk about that a little bit. This came around in a time of my life when I felt like I needed it as a kid who felt like he didn't have a place or the place that was made for him is not the one that he wanted. This stuff really did help tap into those feelings of loneliness and isolation and all of that.
Now, I'm going to ask you something. Did this album, after this change, tap into that more for you than the earlier stuff? Or did you just...
Yeah, I think so. And I know your question is why. And I don't know. Is it a time period? Because this was closer to when I was starting to become a young adult, whereas this earlier stuff, you know, I was preteen, and I thought it was fun. It was heavy, and it was fun. But it's kind of like grunge. Did that tap into something because of the music or because that was the right time in my life to hear that music? That's the question. I don't know. There's no way to tell because it's all just intertwined like a Gordian knot. But I do feel like that this hit at just the right time. You know, there's Wherever I May Roam is another song off of this. It's basically just about if I'm going to be by myself, I'm going to be by myself. And it's a song that just kind of lets you embrace that.
Aww.
And it showed me, a young me, that...
It makes me feel sad.
It showed a young me that, well, there's other people that feel that. Because I'm surrounded by cowboy music, which I hate.
Oh, yeah.
And that has a very certain aesthetic to it. And there are certain lyrical conventions to it. And I didn't feel like that was not for me. And it didn't feel like I had people. And then you would hear stuff like this, and you would find other people who liked it. Like, I found my people. I found my folks. That's an important thing.
That is important. And that's so nice that you got that from. I did not get that from him, but now I feel bad for him.
I feel like he's in.
I'm sure he's in a better place now.
Yes.
But listening to this now and knowing how he must have felt then, it makes me feel bad for him.
I know.
Then
I'm going to go ahead and say I feel like we're lucky to still have him.
Oh, I can see that.
There's a lot of folks I feel like who suffered the same way that Hetfield did and took themselves out. And I feel like we're lucky that didn't happen. Either by direct action or inaction because of alcoholism and drugs.
Yeah.
It didn't, and I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're lucky that it didn't.
Well, I think his whole family is lucky that it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, folks, hopefully you enjoyed this. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you like this reaction, you like Ladi reacting to this, we have a whole playlist of Ladi's Rockucation.
Is this a Rockucation?
I'm putting it in one, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll double tag it. And we've got a 2-part series that we did earlier on Metallica. We've got a ton of stuff there. If you like this, please go check that out.
Yeah, please. It's a good time, and we'll see you in Testify telling a story.
Testify. That's right. And when it gets posted to the Testify YouTube account, which you should all go check out and subscribe to, when it gets posted there, I'll put a link right there so you can go and listen to me tell the story.
Yeah, please. He will. We'll make sure.
All right, folks. Take care of yourselves. Lottie and I will see you soon.
Adios.
Hey there, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed this Lottie's Rockucation as much as Lottie and I enjoyed filming it. We do have an entire playlist of Lottie's Rockucation episodes, and we're adding new ones to it all the time, so hopefully you check that out. Also hope that you've already hit the subscribe button. We love building this family here on YouTube, and we would appreciate your support. We also have a television show that airs every Friday night, 10 p.m. CST on Austin Music Television. And if you don't live in the Austin market to watch it, you can always stream the episode, and the link to stream the episode is in every video description here on YouTube. If you would like to go one step further, our patrons get access to all of the past Austin Music TV episodes. That material isn't anywhere else on the internet. And you also get access to every future episode that we would air. Right now, that library is over 50 episodes strong, and we add a new episode every week. So hopefully you'll consider that. And while you're considering it, this first-year guitar student is going to see if he can't hack and slash his way through Sad But True. I don't know if he can or not. Let's beseech Papa Hetfield to see if he can send us some good vibes. Papa Het, can we count on your support? Yeah, I knew we could. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can do it. I don't know if we can. Sad But True. Yeah!